The appeal of classical purity speaks for itself, but flamboyance is the real issue here. Alongside the image of an idealized classical self, superheroes further embody a male fantasy of flamboyant, performative intemperance. This is the original Green Lantern, early comic book covers from the 40s on the left, and updated images of the same character by Alex Ross on the right. And I like this character because he seems to have so much of the swashbuckler in his costume, the connection to pirates and dressing up, and the male adventure all seems to be contained there, plus, a color scheme that Errol Flynn would never have been caught dead in. But anyway. They further embody a male fantasy of flamboyant, performative intemperance, something blocked by the pragmatic, self-controlled economy of an historically constructed masculine cultural identity. And that masculine cultural identity was signified by the visual drabness of the clothes in that man's closet. But many of those closets in superhero stories have secret doors opening onto a broader sense of what is appropriate to the body or man, to the boy or the man, to the body of the male figure. Our costume vigilante is perhaps something more of a dandy, a flamboyantly powered urban male who, if not for his never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way, would probably be ordered to just move it along, and clear the sidewalk. And here I just have some images. Here's somebody in I think it's from a film version of The Scarlet Pimpernel, I'm not exactly sure, with our bohemian Dr. Strange who lives in Greenwich Village. And I think we can see the foppishness of their garb. Here, too, a couple of images I've pulled off, both contemporary and historical. An 1818 caricature by George Cruikshank featuring men squeezing themselves into the latest, most dandified fashions, and, of course, mocking them for doing so. Beau Brummel, one of the men who was responsible for the tailored suit, but who also was a notorious dandy on the right-hand side there. And on the left, we have Jim Kent as the Scarlet Pimpernel, a swashbuckling hero who dressed as something of a dandy, but the Scarlet Pimpernel was an organization that was helping fight the good fight behind the scenes and underground. So an early manifestation of the superhero and a very early place of overlap between the dandy and the vigilante. What battles against crime and corruption really do, it seems, is license the donning of the superhero garb, legitimate the movement out of the home, through the window, and into the secret magic of the urban night. The fantasy, then, is one of dressing up. Superheroes don't wear costumes in order to fight crime. They fight crime so that they can wear the costumes. Thank you, that's the big line. And at this point, just a footnote again to Grant Morrison's recent work in which the characters in the worlds that he creates are superhero fetish freaks, who really they're jealous of mutants. They get body parts soldered onto themselves so they can be mutants. There are websites where, women are just posing in superhero costumes. I mean, it all makes perfect sense. So they fight crime in order to wear the costumes. Now, here it seems that I might be edging up on a very typical reading of superheroes and their costumes, a homoerotic reading of buff closet queens, escaping the mundane world to mingle in secret places with their even more flamboyantly subversive enemies, allies, doppelgangers. But that's been done. And it's not entirely wrong, but it's also not good enough. I'd like to soften that reading a bit and spin it somewhat differently by suggesting that the superhero raids several closets before swinging out on the town, indulging in the flamboyance of urban fashion, desiring to perform anonymously but in full view, fantasizing of a presentness usually assigned to ethnic others, which I'll discuss in a minute. The superhero heads for marginalized sites of non-production or spectacular destruction, not to impose order, but to participate in, to belong to the chaos. Perhaps the concern with law and order. Let me pause here for a minute. I want to run through some images for you. I pulled some definitions of the dandy off dandyism.net and found some images to go along with them. And it's a bit edited, and I just thought it would be fun to do. Some of the people being cited here are well known, others less so. But anyway, the physical characteristics of the dandy, not all of which are physical or about fashion. To appear well-dressed, to be skinny and tall, well, I thought this little Will Eisner spirit kind of did the job. Elegance, we talked about the aerodynamic costume of Green Lantern earlier. The dandy's independence, assurance, originality, self-control, and refinement should be visible in the cut of his clothes. And again, no cape, everything streamlined, everything functional. Free from folly or affectation. Self-mastery. Manage yourself well, and you may manage all the world. And Baudelaire says that should a dandy suffer pain, he will keep smiling. And there we see Superman saying, "It tickles." Aplomb, Plastic Man again. Really, it's about how you do it. It's about having a sense of style. And if this does not reveal a sense of style, I don't know what does. Independence makes the dandy. Ideally, financial independence, and there up top is Bruce Wayne saying, "Dad's estate left me wealthy. I am ready, but first I must have a disguise." And then the independence will also be expressed through his work, often to the point of aloofness, also characterizes the dandy's dealings with the world. The epitome of selfish irresponsibility, he was ideally free of all human commitments. Wit. A paradoxical way of talking lightly of the serious and seriously of the light that carries philosophical implications. And here we see Spider-Man hanging J. Jonah Jameson up with his web and saying, "I figured you need a new outlook on life, so I thought I'd give you one." All right, it's not the wittiest thing. It's not Oscar Wilde. I'll give you that. But it's best I could do on short notice. A skeptical, world-weary, sophisticated, bored, or blasé demeanor. And here we have the Thing riding some sort of Kirby-designed gizmo that he seems utterly uninterested in because he would rather be home watching the Mets. So this kind of blasé attitude towards the cosmic occurrences that are the norm in these people's lives is a part of what they do. A self-mocking and ultimately endearing egotism. Once again, it seems to me the Thing sort of saying, I can't quite read it from here, but it's no good being a hero if there ain't anyone around to see you. And then at the end says, "Hey, you really did it, man." He goes, "Well, naturally. What do you think? I was a pantywaist?" So a kind of endearing and self-mocking egotism. And then as part of that, the notion that the dandy really does not commune well with normal people. And so I pulled out a couple of images that sort of represent this kind of thing. One by Alex Ross, and this a portrait of like some superhero reunion gathering by the magazine illustrator Seth. Dignity and reserve, and here we have, the Silver Surfer saying that emotions are for lesser men and he will bear whatever he must. And a Renaissance man, a complete gentleman who, according to somebody there, ought to dress well, dance well, fence well. And at top we have Bruce Wayne, and at the bottom we have Batman, the same man, comfortable in both worlds.